Hello YouTube, my name is Chico Flores, and welcome to another game. Okay, we're located number 3 inside the visit. Another UCC game, Disambiguation. Sexual game directs here for video games with sexual content to evolve. A game is structured playing, usually undertaken for enjoyment, and sometimes used as an educational tool. Games are distinct from work, which is usually carried out for remuneration, and for art, which is more often an expression of aesthetic or ideological elements. However, the distinction is not clear-cut, and many games are also considered to be work, such as professional players of spectators, sports games, or art, such as jigsaw puzzles. Board games involving an artistic layout such as Mahjong, Solitaire, or some video games. Key components of games are goals, rules, challenges, and interaction. Games generally involve mental or physical simulation, and often both. Many games help develop practical skills, serve as a form of exercising, or otherwise perform an educational, simulation, or psychological role. Attested as early as 2600 BC, 1-2 games are a universal part of human experience and present in all cultures. The role games of Ur, and Mancala are some of the oldest known games. Contents. Definitions. 1. Definitions. 2. Gameplay elements and classification and types. 4. See also. 5. References. 6. Further reading. Definitions. Ludwig Wittgenstein. Ludwig Wittgenstein was probably the first academic philosopher to write just a definition of the word game. In his philosophical investigations, Wittgenstein argued that the elements of games, such as play, rules, and competition, will fail to adequately define what games are. From this, Wittgenstein concluded that people apply the term game to a range of disparate human activities that bear to one not only what one might call family resemblances, as the following game definitions show. This conclusion was not a final one, and today many philosophers like Thomas Herka think that Wittgenstein was wrong and that Bernard Suit's definition is a good answer to the problem. Gameplay elements and classification. Games can be characterized by what the player does. Like BY as in by. BY as in BY. What the player does. This is often referred to as gameplay. Major key elements identified in this context are tools and rules that define the overall context of game. Game as in G-A-M-E. Tools. Games, or G-A-M-E-S, as in games, are often classified by the components required to play them, e.g. miniatures, a ball, cards, a board and pieces, or a computer. In places where the use of leather is well established, the ball has been a popular game piece throughout recorded history, resulting in the worldwide popularity of ball games such as rugby, basketball, football, cricket, tennis, and volleyball. Other tools are more idiosyncratic to a certain region. Many countries in Europe, for instance, have unique standard decks of playing cards. Other games, such as chess, may be traced primarily through the development and evolution of its game mean game, game as in game, pieces. In a game, tools are tokens meant to represent other things. A token may be a pawn or a board, labeling, or an intangible item such as a point score. Games such as hide and seek or tag do not utilize any obvious tool, rather their interactivity is defined by the environment. Games with the same or similar rules may have different gameplay if the environment is altered. For example, hide and seek is a school building differs from the same game in a park. An auto race can be radically different depending on a track or street course. Even the same cars. Rules. Whereas games are often characterized by their tools, they are often defined by their rules. While rules are subject to variations and changes, enough change in the rules usually results in a new game. For instance, baseball can be played with real baseballs or with wiffle balls. However, if the player decides to play with only 3 bases, they are arguably playing a different game. There are exceptions to this in that some games deliberately involve the changing of their own rules, but even then there are often immutable rules. Rules generally turn order the rights and responsibilities of the players at each player's goal. Rights may include when they may spend resources or move tokens. Calming when conditions are being forced to amass a certain quota of points or tokens, as in Settlers of Catan. Having the greatest number of tokens at the end of the game as in Monopoly, or some relationship of one's game tokens to those of one's opponents, as in chess, checkmate. Skill, strategy, and chance. A game's or game's tools and rules will result in it requiring skill, strategy, luck, or a combination thereof, and are classified accordingly. Games or games of skill include games or games of physical skill, such as wrestling, tug of war, hopscotch, target shooting, and stake. As in stake. Note, stake as in S-T-A-K-E. And games of mental skills such as checkers and chess. Games of strategy include checkers, chess, Go, arima, and tic-tac-toe, and often require special equipment to play them. Games or games of chance include gambling games or games, blackjack, mahjong, roulette, etc., as well as snakes and ladders, and rock, paper, scissors. Most require equipment such as cards or dice. However, most games contain 2 or all 3 of these elements. For example, American football and baseball involve both physical skill and strategy, while Tiddlywinks poker and Monopoly combine strategy and chance. Many card and board games combine all 3. Most trick-taking games or games involve mental skill, strategy, and an element of chance.